Hi, this is Rhonda Johnson, rc.johnson@hughes.net. In 1992, we adopted our little girl. We weren't really planning on adopting a little girl, but she needed a home, and so we agreed to adopt her. 5 years later, we get this phone call that says, "Your daughter has 2 biological brothers. They're from Alaska, they're U.S. citizens, but they're currently living in El Salvador. If we don't get them out of El Salvador, there's a good chance that they may die. They're malnourished, they don't have anyone to care for them, they're sick, and we need to find a good home for them. We would really appreciate reuniting these 2 little boys with their sisters so we can keep that family together." My husband and I thought about it. We already had 5 kids, our 4 natural kids, and then our adopted daughter. Our home wasn't really set up for 2 more kids, and so we had to figure out, would we be able to house them, give them a good life, and would we be able to mentally, financially, and physically handle it? It didn't take long, though, for us to realize that we were not ever going to not adopt those kids. So we agreed. We picked them up from the airport. It was April of 1999. We live in Alaska. All they had when they came off the airport with the stewardess was a pair of shorts and a tank top and some sandals on. They did have a duffel bag, so we searched through the duffel bag looking for some warmer clothes, and it was just filled with more shorts and tank tops and 2 6-packs of Coca-Cola. We wrapped them up in our coats, we took them out to the car, and we immediately went to buy them some warmer clothes. When we got home, we realized that they didn't speak English, they spoke Spanish. There was a few broken English words in there, but neither one of us spoke Spanish, so we weren't sure, oh my gosh, how are we going to communicate with these kids? I remember one time we were standing in the kitchen, we were all eating red popsicles. The youngest one, he was 2, started yelling and screaming and crying, and I didn't know what he was saying, and I didn't know if the popsicle was hurting his teeth or if he got one of those brain freezes because he ate it too fast. Finally, he points down to his shoe, and I see there's a little red drip from his popsicle on his brand new little white tennis shoes. I take a paper towel, wipe it off, and he was happy again, eating his popsicle, and he was fine. But we had a lot of lessons to learn on how to communicate with them because we didn't speak each other's language. In August, the older one turned 5. We had a big party for him, invited all of our friends and family and the neighbors with kids his same age. We put the cake in front of him, we lit up the birthday candles and said, "Okay, make a wish, blow out the candles." And he just looked at us. He had no clue what we were talking about. So there's all of us adults saying, you go, and try to show him how to blow out the candles, but not blowing out the candles ourselves. Finally, he takes this big breath, and he blows out his candles. We all clap and say, "Yay!" And he gets this grin on his face from ear to ear, like he has just performed this miracle. We start handing him his presents, and he's so carefully unwrapping them, pulling each piece of tape off, making sure he doesn't rip the wrapping paper. He finally opens it up, and all these other little kids are standing around saying, "Ooh and ah, and I like that, I wish I had that." And he would just hand it off to them. We realized that he didn't know that those were his gifts, that he got to keep them. When he opened up his football, though, he quietly took that football and he hid it right next to him by his side. He wasn't about to give that football up. We bought him a new bicycle. He'd never had one before. We set him up on that bicycle, put his hands on the handlebars, and you could see him shaking. Put his feet on the pedals. We were just in the living room. It was on its kickstand, but you could just see him shaking, sitting on that bicycle. Today, he's a little demon on a dirt bike. Christmas time comes along, and we made a big production over firing up the snow machines, going out into the woods, drinking hot chocolate from the thermoses, cutting down the tree, tying it to the sled, and bringing it back to the house. We get ready to shove the tree into the back door, and he says, "Whoa, stop, wait a minute. What are you doing? Trees belong outside. They do not belong in the house." So we explained to him that don't worry about it, this is going to be good, you're going to like this. We get ready to set it up in the tree stand so we can decorate it, and he says, so now what are you going to do? Cut a hole in the floor to put it in the dirt? Because he knew not only did trees not belong in the house, but they belonged outside and in the dirt. So I said, no, we're just going to put it in this tree stand with some water. As he started seeing presents pile up under the tree, he thought, okay, this might not be so bad, because he remembered his birthday from just a few months before. Christmas comes and goes, we undecorate the tree, get ready to take it back outside, and he goes to his little cubby hole, puts on his hat and his gloves, his coat, his snow pants, his boots, and he gets ready to head out the door. We said, oh, wait a minute, where are you going? He said, well, that was pretty fun, let's go get another tree and do this again. So we had to explain that we only do this once a year. But we realized that these two little guys had never experienced any of these holidays. They'd never colored Easter eggs. They'd never gone trick-or-treating. So we got to experience this whole year of firsts with them. And they weren't just little infants. They were little boys. And so there was a sense of awe about them every time we had a new one of these celebrations or holidays. And I think about that in my day-to-day life at work now, how a lot of times people will come into me and they don't talk the same language that I do. We have to explain very complicated financial scenarios to them, and they don't understand that language. So I think about how I have to listen to them, what their goals are, and how I can communicate back to them, much like I had to when the two boys didn't speak English, to be able to communicate. I also realize that this is oftentimes a first for them. They've not ever bought a home before. They've never got a mortgage loan before. And they're scared, and they don't know what to expect. So I always put myself into that position when I have a new client in front of me to think about those communication skills and to experience that amazing wonder at helping them achieve one of their firsts. I would encourage you to think about that in your industry. And think about those clients and customers that you're working with that are experiencing you for the first time and how you might be able to help them and communicate as best as you can with them.